Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Tom Dark channel. I am your host, Tom Dark, and as you all remember, recently Critical had some big beef with Sneako. There were some super popular tweets about it as well as videos, and basically everyone came away with the conclusion that Sneako lost for a number of different reasons. Overall for him it was just a big embarrassment. Well, he was trying to fight Critical, which Critical declined, and then he wanted to debate him for a while, which he also did not seem interested in doing. But now, finally, the two have hopped on a call and had a conversation live on stream about a lot of things. Honestly, it was pretty interesting. Now, full disclaimer, for some reason during the debate, Sneako was walking around Japan. I guess he was just not home, and, he wasn't at his computer at the time it was supposed to happen. But that's why he's just out and about while Critical is sitting, in his room while they talk. Now, the reason this whole argument started this time was because Sneako decided to tweet out about his love for the movie Cuties. And a lot of people have hatred for this film. In fact, it's actually the reason why Charlie called out Sneako in the first place like a year ago. Because Sneako had made this video talking about why he loved this movie. He said it was one of his new favorite movies, and many saw that as, pretty distasteful because they say Cuties is exploitative of children.
Right now the outrage is really strong, so saying something like this video probably already has half dislikes. And I even tweeted like, Cuties is clickbait. This was a pretty good movie. And everybody replying like, I'm unfollowing you. This is the limit, Sneako.
And so Charlie messaged him saying he wanted to talk about Cuties, and this turned into a more general discussion of their beef and disagreements as a whole, and it was pretty interesting.
The message isn't something that I or pretty much anyone has an issue with. The message is, like you mentioned, the social media poisoning them, making them do the sexual things, which is a problem. But this movie contributes to it since it still used real children to sexualize them, to showcase it. That's the issue. You didn't need it to be children.
I don't think it contributes to it, because when you see girls doing this on TikTok, they don't know.
I don't see girls doing it on TikTok, though, is the thing, right? The only people that would are going to be the pedophiles. They would go and search that out. This movie was advertised on Netflix.
No, that's not true. Every time, I don't have TikTok on my phone, but once in a while before I was banned, I would go on there, and the first 3 videos would be the same thing that you see on Cuties. And that's why I uninstalled the app. That's why I refuse to have it on my phone, because it's directing you to those images.
No, I've never seen Cuties, and I never will, because the scenes I have seen posted online are enough that I just don't want to watch it ever. But I think Sneako actually makes a decent point here. On TikTok, which is another thing I don't have, but if you go on the app, it actually takes like seconds to find videos of underage girls dancing. I mean, you don't even have to look for it, it's just automatically recommended to you. I've had like 10 other people tell me this. The algorithm basically recommends it to you, like, automatically. I mean, Charli D'Amelio, just for example, is one of the most popular people on the app, and when she was like 15, 16 years old, when I was in high school, I remember videos of her dancing being like one of the most popular things on the site that everyone was watching. And obviously it's not her fault, she's just some girl who wants to dance, but maybe there is something to be said about social media allowing underage girls to dance in revealing clothing, post it online, and then get famous from that, It seems a little disturbing to me that that's being normalized in our culture, and furthermore, Sneako's point that Cuties shows us things that disgust us, and people get mad at that, but never get mad about it in everyday culture is, honestly a decent point, right? It kind of makes sense to me. That being said, I think it's wrong for the movie itself to exploit children, obviously, in the process of proving that point even. I think it's wrong. It kind of makes it fall flat on its face, because at the end of the day, you're still exploiting the children in that movie. But at the same time, people get more mad at Sneako for saying Cuties has its merits than they do at TikTok or other social media that allow and promote that kind of content. It's kind of disturbing, And at this point in the debate, we get to the conversation about wokeness, which is something you hear from Sneako a lot. It's a sort of nebulous term to represent the opposite of the red pill, the enemy of Sneako, so to speak, and the ideas of that enemy.
Do you agree that wokeness is one of the biggest problems that corrupts kids nowadays?
Define wokeness.
Wokeness is the liberal ideology, is feelings over facts. I identify this way because I feel like it is, there's no gender, nothing matters, I do as I want, everything that's promoted on social media.
Do you realize half of what you just described is how you've lived your life for the last year? Like feelings over facts, for example. You champion bullying. You think bullying needs to come back. I have never canceled you. Can you recognize that? I've actually always spoke out against deplatforming, if you've ever noticed. I spoke out against it.
No, but you were also disingenuous. When I called out the Soy Boy collage, you were like, these people just hurt my feelings. Most of those people actively advocated
for my
cancellation.
Nick is not green is the only person.
True. That's not true. Ethan Klein celebrated and clapped when I was banned and said, good, finally this misogynist is banned. What happens on the internet, I understand. It's good to have back and forth. Bullying is good because it makes you have to develop your character in a different way. That's not why I was upset. I was upset because a lot of these people were secretly happy or secretly hoping that I was going to get banned because they disagree with my ideology.
But then why am I on that list when I've only ever spoke out against deplatforming? That seems like I'm there because I hurt your feelings.
You didn't hurt my feelings. I thought it was funny because you do look like the rest of them.
I don't understand how, but we're not here to get into the nitty gritty, I guess.
And I was also sort of confused by this point because I was included in the soy boy collage. And I'm not a soy boy, guys. The collage of people who made videos about him. But as far as I know, only like one or two of them, being Ethan Klein, probably Hassan Piker, as well as Nick is Not Green, advocated for his deplatforming. I was always supportive of him not being deplatformed, and in my video I said as much. And furthermore, I think Charlie is absolutely right about Sneako running his life on his feelings while claiming that everyone else does it, right? It's obvious projection. When you hear him talk about what he believes, he never references statistics or facts or anything like that, and he always just talks about what he believes to be intrinsically true with nothing to back it up. It's all from his personal experience. And I'm not going to be one of these people who's like, well, do you have a study for that? Oh my science! Because there are plenty of things I believe in that I don't have a fucking study for. I just base it off my own personal experience, and I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. And he's free to do that himself, but it's annoying to see him constantly do the Ben Shapiro meme of facts don't care about your feelings, when most of his own beliefs seem to be informed by the little time he's had on this earth. You're not better or smarter than anyone else, Sneako. You're not an enlightened individual. You're just another dude. And another problem I have with Sneako is constantly playing the victim, where he seems like he's always crying about how people do not like him when like, you kind of did it to yourself, man, by being a shithead to a bunch of famous people, insulting their wives and girlfriends all the time. Like, obviously people are gonna, come away with an issue when you attack them personally for nothing, right? Over fucking nothing, over something as stupid as internet drama.
A lot of the things you critique the woke for are ones that you actively partake in. Victimization, that's a big thing with the woke, right? Constantly playing the victim. Do you recognize how often you play the victim in terms of like, I'm being canceled, everyone's against me, you go on your Discord to talk more about it, even this morning talking and naming and shaming people that you think have slighted you as like a cancellation? You do the exact same things. Like, you are also an SJW.
That's not victimizing, that's actively pointing out that literally every streamer, the entire internet, all of YouTube reacted to your video. I drop a response where I even apologize for going out of character and getting emotional, and then people making me die in an animation, but nobody wants to see what I have to say. I've become a caricature on YouTube rather than somebody who has something to say. I've become a meme because I am banned. That's not victimizing, that's actively pointing out how strong censorship is and how people on mainstream platforms can run with the narrative when you're not there.
The way you just justified it is a way many other people that you call playing the victim would also be able to justify things. The point is, when you are constantly whining and talking about how you're being attacked, it is still being victimized.
And in this way in particular, I have to admit, guys, I shed a tear for Sneako. I feel a little bad for Sneako because he got banned and I think he didn't deserve to be. And here we go with the nerds in my comment section. He spread misinformation about about alligators. I don't care. I defend the right of Sneako to speak, regardless of whatever damage you think his speech may cause to the discourse. That's my policy and that's my philosophy. You can disagree with it. You can think it's immature, but I believe in freedom of speech for all, except for files. That being said, I honestly cannot blame people for criticizing him and playing into this character of himself because he does things that allow people to do just that, He constantly tweets the soy boy collage. He baits people to try and get them mad at him every single day. He taunts people with firearms. He insults their significant others. He says that any woman who disagrees with him just needs to get good dick. So to an extent, that caricature is going to live on past himself, especially in light of his ban and not being able to exist on mainstream platforms. He and he knows this. He knows these things are going to get clipped because part of his content is reacting to short clips showing one aspect of someone's personality and then calling them out for it. That's part of what he does. He's kind of a commentator in that way. Ironically, he complains about this and being turned into a shadow ghost of Sneako, right? A meme of his worst traits and worst moments. But by the same token, this guy has not said or made nuanced content in years. He constantly represents people by a short little clip or a short little aspect of their personality, calling them soy boys to put them down, insulting their appearance, calling them weak, saying they get no bitches, being like, oh my god, you're monogamous? What a loser. You're a YouTuber? What a loser. And that's fine. It's kind of funny, right? If you want to go down that route. Sneako says we should bring bullying back. Okay, sure. But if you want to bring that kind of inflammatory language back and be that kind of figure who insults everyone, then you have to deal with the fact that, the playing field is not necessarily level, especially when you refuse to make allies and have branches to people who may not really agree with you. And the only people you collaborate with on a regular basis are Fresh and Fit, the Tate brothers, and Aiden Ross. All people who kind of live inside your little echo chamber and agree with each other. I personally would argue that Sneako himself turned himself into this caricature, and now he's living with the consequences of that. You wanted to bring bullying back, now you're gonna get bullied, dude.
It's disingenuous, and now we're having the debate, but you would rather DM and go and make this about drama. Oh, let me go and react and do more drama content rather than have a conversation.
But I never
and I'm
did
glad
that.
You're doing it now.
But
Who?
you have to remember that I didn't start any of this. You reacted to me telling jokes about your friend and then had your audience tell me, and that went on for like 2 weeks. And so eventually I explained why I don't like you. And then when I did that, that was the only time I planned on talking about you. You went on stream with your gun to threaten me, and you kept it up for 3 months, adding me.
I didn't do that to threaten you. That was a joke about clips. You actually think I was threatening you?
Whether or
You're
not
talk
you
about
were
victimized. You're gonna think, okay. You're gonna say victimized. And you're gonna say I'm actively trying to threaten you by saying a clips joke on a stream.
I don't think you were actually coming after my life. It doesn't change the fact that for 3 months you continued to carry it on. I wasn't reacting to you. I wasn't even talking about you.
And this is another great point where Sneako picked this fight. He wanted this to happen. And then when he got hit, he started crying about how no one wants to have a conversation with him. But why would anyone think any conversation is to even be had with you when your first instinct is to pull out your Glock and dance around with it on stream? Or to produce like clippable moment after clippable moment of you being a fucking dickhead? Why would anyone think that you have anything valuable to say when you challenge me and 10 other people to a debate? I accept and then you just dip. I feel like there's nothing productive coming from your behavior here. If you want to be seen as charitable and someone to be taken seriously, then you should take yourself seriously. Act like someone people want to talk to rather than a cartoon character, you know? And it's nice to see him more candid in this debate, more respectable, more down to earth, willing to engage in conversation. It feels like we're seeing touches of the old Sneako here, where he's not just yelling all the time like an animal and is actually engaging with conversation, where he's not going down the same dialogue tree. But ultimately, this is one instance in the last year, of which he's usually going down the same, like I said, predictable dialogue tree about how wokeness is bad, soy boy YouTubers are bad, Rumble is the next YouTube, Andrew Tate is God, take the next red pill, women are dumb, etc. I think Sneako would be better off doing more content like this debate if he wants to bring in new viewers and have more goodwill in the community than just bleeding followers and keeping the same 1,000 tards in his audience who spam W or L in chat and have no critical thinking skills whatsoever. Critical thinking skills? Like, more like moist critical thinking skills. Get it? But I mean, take someone like Destiny, who's very controversial, has made a lot of enemies, plenty of communities hate him. At the same time, he's also taken seriously by a lot of streamers. He frequently collabs and does debates with people who disagree with him, and for that, he's afforded a lot of respect, and he's not seen as nearly as much of a lol cow as you are, Sneako. Take a little advice from Destiny, okay? The blue-haired, blue-pilled, cringe cuck may serve you well.
What do you think that I've said that I don't believe in?
So we'll use our beef, for example. You think I'm weak for not taking you up on a boxing fight. But on the same side of that coin, you won't take Brandon Buckingham up on that boxing fight. The whole point was, I don't stand by my beliefs because I won't fight you for it. Well, with that perspective, why wouldn't you fight Brandon Buckingham when you feel so strongly about your beliefs and he says the same things I do? Wouldn't you want to prove
because
that you stand?
The first fight that I want to take would be against somebody, one, who has more clout than me, two, I disagree with ideologically. I don't disagree with him ideologically at all.
But he says the same things I say about you.
This person has been obsessed for a long time. He's suing me for emotional distress. Personally, I don't care about this person, and there's no benefit for me to take my first fight with this person.
So then
if
your
I
beliefs.
Fought somebody, I challenge.
So then
the reason I was banned on Twitter for challenging Hasanabi to a fight. One, because a lot of people want to see that. He's well known. He disagrees with me completely. There's a lot of tension for that fight. If I fought you, you have said a lot of things that are very negative about me. There's beef in the air, and you talk a lot about me, so things that you probably wouldn't say to my face. It would be an entertaining fight.
But that's not the point. The whole point is you think I am weak, and you keep harping on this for not taking you up on the fight. But you won't take someone up on a fight that's saying the exact same things I am. So it seems like the beliefs, you don't stand by that strongly if you're not confident you can make a spectacle.
Charlie, we both know you wouldn't accept the fight.
Right, I've made that very clear.
We both know. Even when I challenge you, we both know. It's to point out that a lot of people talk a lot of talk online, and they never have to face the consequences because they stay in their room gaming all day. That was to point it out. Men are tired of seeing this back and forth internet drama. They want to see people go and settle it. I've never said a word about this person that you're bringing up. I haven't said a word about him since last summer. I won't say his name publicly again. I'm being sued for emotional distress. I'm leaving that alone. I have no problem with this person. We have gone back and forth. We're going back and forth on Twitter. People want to see it. People are tired of these keyboard warriors going back and forth. That was to point out the fact that men should not feel so comfortable talking a lot of talk on Twitter that they would never say in person.
And there's some great irony here that Sneako is willing to challenge so many people to a fight, but when someone like Brandon comes along, who Sneako lied about and never apologized for, corrected the record, and he wants to fight Sneako, it's crickets from the entire Sneako camp. And he can make up excuses like, oh, my first fight, it's not going to be someone with less clout than me like Brandon, who also agrees with me ideologically and this and that, and excuses. But if this was anyone else, if this was not Sneako we're talking about, I would agree, you don't have to fight him. It's fair to back out of it. Boxing's dangerous. There's the potential for head injury. You probably don't make a lot of money for it, so to an extent, I would get that. Like, for me personally, for me to agree to a fight, I would need to be paid a lot of money, guaranteed, because boxing training is super intensive, it's expensive, it would take so much time away from YouTube, which is important to me, and it's my job. Unless I was paid a ton of money, then I would lose a ton of money for little gain from boxing, in exchange for being, punched in the fucking head, even if I win. That being said, I also would never threaten to beat people up, challenge them, posture about how physically strong I am, do push-ups on stream, flex my tiny biceps in every photo to look big when in reality I'm a skinny kid, and then not accept a fight. Sneako does it, and it's embarrassing to see this behavior. Even in this debate itself, he claims he's sick of people talking others online and saying things they would never say to him in real life. So why don't you just say what you said about Brandon to his face? He'll lay you out, he will destroy you, and you know it, which is why you're constantly running like the coward you are. Your words cost him to get in a ton of from your audience, and all he wants is to have the opportunity to show you who is boss. But you just won't do it. Sad. Sad, Sneako.
You made claims of Brandon Buckingham being like a rapist and shit. Wouldn't that be something that you'd want to fight about at that point? Like,
that was not a claim that I made. I
can't remember the specifics of it, but you did toss out the word rapist when talking about Brandon Buckingham. I don't remember the context it was used in, but you did mention it, right? So why is all of a sudden that now beneath you? Like, you don't have any problems with him now after he's willing to fight. The point is, you're talking about, you say these things and you don't have consequences. Well, what about you? You said these things. He's trying to give you those consequences that you think are so important, and you won't take him up on it. There is a clear hypocrisy.
Right, that was a different example. The guy was a previous fan. It's a giant misunderstanding. There's a lawsuit involved, so I can't talk about this too much, but that is not what I accused him of. I do not think he is that word. I never said that about him, and that's a lie. He wants to do it because there's an obsession going on, but that's irrelevant.
Well, it's all tying back into the point I'm making, where the things that you preach against, you yourself embody.
What Sneako said, by the way, is that Brandon threatened to R-word his girlfriend. This was because Brandon made a joke about Sneako's girlfriend, who had previously gone to a swinger party with him, which is where the infamous video of Sneako talking about him being 2 feet away from his girl while another man blows her back out comes from. Brandon is suing him as far as I'm aware, but according to Keemstar, this has no bearing on their ability to fight, and they could actually get in the ring together if they wanted to. The lawsuit is specifically about his comments he made about him on livestream. But Sneako is just too pussy to do that. And I love how he says he hasn't talked about Brandon in months, so no one should care. But at the end of the day, you blatantly misrepresented how something went down, and as a result, he has an issue with you. Regardless of if your brain has moved on, so you can lie about someone else, Brandon still has to live with the consequences of what happened, and as a result, he's going to feel like you guys should fight, and like he has some unresolved conflict with you, I don't know all of the details of the lawsuit, so I'm not necessarily going to support or condemn that, because I don't know exactly what went on there. I don't know everything behind the scenes with the lawsuit. I haven't really asked Brandon about it. In full disclosure, I am friends with Brandon Buckingham, so I have to disclose my bias there, but I don't know if the lawsuit is totally justified or not. I can't support or not support that, but that has no bearing on the fight, so you should fight him. I mean, this is why his video about you got 1 million views, because he has a legitimate grievance with how you act.
The lawsuit has no impact on his ability to accept the fight or compete in the event. It's all just a thinly veiled excuse to keep ducking me. Mind you, I'm not even good at boxing. I don't like boxing, and to be fair, I don't really ever want to box again. But there's genuine bad blood here, and I'm pretty tired of this wannabe tough guy parading around the internet like he's some kind of badass. Moist Critical, D'Angelo Wallace, Ethan Klein, and even Chad. What do they all have in common? Sneako wants to fight them. One is a girl, 2 of them like men, and all 4 of them have no interest in fighting anyone. So that's why I made this video, to call Sneako a coward, and tell him to sign the contract, stop being a fake tough guy, let's step in the ring and settle this once and for all.
If Sneako really wants this world where words have consequences, he should stop threatening to fight people who are obviously physically weaker than him and fight someone who is big, who is his height. Not Ethan Klein or fucking Chad, okay? Not some like 5'4" girl or, Ethan Klein. That would be embarrassing. That would be like punching someone with, I can't say that, never mind. I can't say that. I'm sorry, Ethan. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. I love you, Ethan.
$50 on a course from vetted millionaires, or watching a gaming streamer for 6 hours every night.
Well, he didn't use the course to get rich. He's getting rich from the course, the same way that the course that you're selling is not like your main way that you made money. You are making money from that course now, as opposed to what the course is teaching. But again, this is getting completely sidetracked.
That's just not true. That's not my main source of income. I enjoy doing it, and it's a great way to have a network. And you talk about all the lonely men that are out there. What are you doing to go and help these people? We understand that there's a problem with loneliness of men. People get in there, they ask me questions about how do I network better? How do I find people who are like-minded? You give them advice, and you can see them transform their life. I'm curious as to what you think is a better alternative, because you stream gaming for 6 hours. Is that a better solution to men who are lonely watching you play video games, or giving advice to men who don't know how to find a community of like-minded people who don't know how to make money online and want to live a lifestyle where, look, I'm in Japan. You're still in the same room that I've seen you in since high school.
I can go places. I choose not to. I'm happy here the same way you're happy traveling in Japan. Like, these are non-arguments that you're making. It's the same argument
I've
of...
never seen you outside of your room. And I don't know how many years I've seen you on YouTube. I've never seen you out of your room. I've seen you with dildos in your room, throwing it at each other and your friends. I've never seen you travel. I've never seen you network with other people. I've never seen you show your audience what's possible if they make money as well. I've seen you play video games since like 2016.
In one of the clips you showed of me, I am outside at Gasparilla with my girlfriend. What are you talking about?
And this ties into a big criticism I personally have of Sneako, of Andrew Tate, that seems really obvious, but I feel like not enough people talk about it. These people constantly criticize other content creators for not adding value or teaching their audience things, right? They think that every content creator should be like a intellectual, spiritual thought leader for their fans. And as a result, their solution to being, an intellectual messiah for their fans is to have these paid courses that you buy into, and then the idea is that you get access to all of their knowledge for how to make money and date girls and how to get ahead, right? Maybe even how to get head. But realistically, I see this as pretty silly because everything they claim to teach is stuff you can learn online for free. In the case of Sneako, if you need to learn how to video edit, make entertaining content, all of that is available online for free on YouTube. There are plenty of great YouTube channels I've personally watched that will teach you how to do it. If you need to learn about stocks or investing or crypto, there are also plenty of great free resources. And additionally, as far as the idea of a community around these ideas that Sneako talks about building, this is also something you don't have to pay for. You can find that on your own. In fact, I would argue the community you find in Sneako's little course Discord server is worse than the community you can come to know naturally through finding resources online and making content and meeting other creators. Because Sneako's course community is first of all Sneako fans, but secondly, they think you need to pay to learn this stuff when in reality, anything you want to know is free to learn on the internet. It's an endless resource with so much information, it's ridiculous how much there is out there if you want to learn anything online. And what's better is that online you will find people like you who are ambitious, seeking out this information, and open to learning, rather than people who think that the secret to the universe is paying $50 for a stupid fucking course made by Sneako of all people. I've actually made YouTube advice videos right here on this channel, telling people my basic tips for content creation, and it's nothing I would charge for or try to market as like something anyone necessarily needs. It's just some offhand knowledge I gathered from years of uploading.
You're talking about things that are agreeable, and this is what I've said about Andrew Tate. He doesn't always say silly, dumb shit, but he does, and he couples it with good, real things, like you mentioned, addiction is a problem. Like, no one's gonna disagree with that, but everything that you're sprinkling in outside of it is totally fucking irrelevant to the rest of it, man. You going and flexing on your audience isn't showing them what's possible, it's showing what's possible when they're paying for your lifestyle. The advice you give, you thrive off them staying miserable, right? The second they get happy, the second they get money,
No,
the second
I definitely don't.
they will not be paying for
don't.
your course anymore.
If my audience does not get value from my content, they're going to leave. The reality is that streamers and content creators like you, the audience always grows up. They watch a little of the gaming content, then they grow up. They're not learning anything, and so they go to another content creator. They go to somebody else who's popular or trendy. You need to add value to the audience, or else they are going to grow out of it.
And the value from
pressure of that.
the value of most things is entertainment. What you used to do was humor interlaced with your stuff. Now it's just preaching to the choir of people that already subscribe to your hive mind. It's you're still doing the same thing.
That's what you see on Twitter, because that's the only mainstream platform that I'm still allowed to be on. If you watch my stream,
I have watched
in
your
a
streams.
couple weeks. When I watch my stream for 4 hours, it's not preaching. A lot of it's humor. My motto is seek truth through funny.
Which
I
you've
look at
abandoned.
what's going on in the world.
It seems you have completely abandoned that. I have watched your streams. I have. A lot of it devolves into just talking again about the same things you always mention. Soy boys, bots, woke mind virus, and then dancing around. And then always trying to defend and find the other side of something controversial. It's the same formula over and over again because that's how you found to keep your audience hooked.
I mean, this is kind of a problem I have with Andrew Tate as well. Like, he talks about a lot of things I agree with. The downsides of corn addiction, OnlyFans being bad, cancel culture being dumb. But then they're also, especially Andrew Tate, like complete hedonists who spend their money trying to be the most obnoxious metrosexual possible, rather than doing anything they claim and preach is fulfilling to anyone. These guys are totally self-interested and have no interest in helping anyone other than themselves. Andrew Tate says OnlyFans is evil, he says is evil, but he makes his money from managing OnlyFans girls and like producing porn. That's how he makes his fucking money. That's his bread and butter. He is responsible for the sickness he diagnoses and preaches about. He criticizes the illnesses of the world while being a direct part of that, while being at the head of it, while being one of the most prolific profiters of it. It's disgusting. And the same goes for Fresh and Fit, who preach about freedom of speech and then copyright strike people. And the thing is, I don't care if any normal YouTuber does any of this stuff, okay? I don't care if a normal YouTuber wants to, preach this, preach that. I don't really care. Or if they want to share their opinion on something. The problem comes when you're a complete hypocrite about it, okay? These guys are explicitly intellectual thought leaders who build their brand off of consistency. And then they go behind their backs and are fucking pieces of shit about all of it. They're all hypocrites in massive ways, and it's just really frustrating. And then Charlie basically called Sneako terminally online and criticized him for ranting against social media. Meanwhile, he plays into the worst aspects of it, like sensationalism and stuff like that.
Which is why a lot of the advice I give is telling them to get out of their comfort zone and start with something like the gym. The gym is a very social environment. It's an environment where everyone's working towards similar goals. You immediately surround yourself with like-minded people, and maybe you make a connection at the gym, maybe you can find a friend there, but even if you don't, you are out of your comfort zone in an environment where people are working for a similar goal. And that already changes your mindset as a person. You've given yourself a goal, you are acting on it, and now you're surrounded by people that are also in a similar boat.
Anyway, I'm not going to content chimp this entire debate right now. I'll probably watch it on stream later. I just want to give my quick thoughts here, If you guys enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like. If you disliked it, leave a dislike and let me know why in the comment section down below. It's always good to hear you guys' thoughts on these controversial, pressing issues. Check out Turkey Tom on YouTube, turkeytom.net on my website, my Instagram, TomButDark. Become a YouTube member for exclusive content right now, including members-only podcasts, the second episode of which is out right now. You guys can check out. Super easy, only $5 a month. Lots of exclusive content coming very, very soon. Appreciate your loyalty, guys. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.